Onward! Onward! Follow my lead. Moving out. Onward! Moving out. Come, brothers. An opening! Attack! Onward! You shall feel my wrath! Back off, knaves! Retribution awaits! Strike them down! Forging ahead! Onward! Advancing! Attack! Have at thee! Onward! Onward! Strike them down! Attack! In God's name! Forging ahead! Follow my lead! Forging ahead! Come, brothers! Follow my lead! Follow my lead! Moving out! Come, brothers! Back off, knaves! Fights with the strength of God! You shall feel my wrath! Retribution awaits! We should concentrate on the quest. In God's name, forging ahead! The wicked shall fall! Follow my lead. Come, brothers. Advancing. On the march. Come, brothers. Forging ahead. Forging ahead. Come, brothers. Follow my lead. In God's name. Strike them down! You shall feel my wrath! Annihilate them! Forging ahead! Moving out. Follow my lead. Forging ahead. In God's name. On the march. Advancing. Moving out. Come, brothers. Onward. Forging ahead. Advancing. Forging ahead. Forging ahead. Forging ahead. Follow my lead. Onward. In God's name. Moving out. Have at thee! Onward! Forging ahead! Come, brothers! Follow my lead! Forging ahead! Moving out! Moving out! Follow my lead! You give me no choice! Retribution awaits! An opening! Attack! Moving out! On the march! Moving out! Come, brothers! In God's name! Onward! Advancing! In God's name! Come at thee! You shall feel my wrath! Back off, knaves! Fight with the strength of God! On the march! In God's name! Follow my lead! Come, brothers! Follow my lead! On the march! You shall feel my wrath! Advancing! An opening! Attack! Forging ahead! Strike them down! Attack! Fight with the strength of God! Have at thee! Forging ahead! The end draws near. Forging ahead! Moving out! Onward! In God's name! Advancing! Forging ahead! In God's name! Come, brothers! Follow my lead! An opening! Attack! Fight with the strength of God! Advancing! On the march! Advancing! Come, brothers! Follow my lead! Advancing! In God's name! Advancing! Onward! Follow my lead! An opening! Attack! Have at thee! Moving out! Fight with the strength of God! Off with you, pest! The wicked shall fall! In God's name! Have at thee! The wicked shall fall! Retribution awaits! The wicked shall fall! An opening! Attack! You give me no choice! An opening! Attack! Follow my lead! Fight with the strength of God! Come, brothers! An opening! Attack! Advancing! Come, brothers! Onward! Advancing! Fight with the strength of God! Off with you, pest! The wicked shall fall! Advancing! In God's name! Come, brothers! You give me no choice! Moving out! You shall feel my wrath! An opening! Attack! Back off, knaves! On the march! Come, brothers! Advancing! In God's name! Moving out! Follow my lead! Forging ahead! Advancing! In God's name! Onward! Come on, you dogs! Come, brothers. Follow my lead. Follow my lead. Forging ahead. Moving out. Advancing. Onward. Forging ahead. You give me no choice.
I shall not fall for this vexing.
Have at thee! On the march. Follow my lead. Come, brothers. You shall feel my wrath. Back off, knaves! An opening. Attack! Have at thee! You shall feel my wrath. Retribution awaits. Come, brothers. The wicked shall fall. Moving out. Follow my lead. Forging ahead. Advancing. Fight with the strength of God. Come, brothers. On the march. Forging ahead. In God's name. Strike them down. Back off, knaves. In God's name. In God's name. On the march. Follow my lead. Fight with the strength of God. Onward. Follow my lead. Moving out. In God's name. Moving out. Onward. Onward. Forging ahead. Forging ahead. Advancing. Moving out. On the march. Moving out. Advancing. Come, brothers. In God's name. Follow my lead. An opening. Attack! Moving out. On the march. Come, brothers. Attack! Follow my lead. In God's name. Come, brothers. Moving out. Advancing. Fight with the strength of God. Onward. Strike them down. Attack! Forging ahead. Strike them down. In God's name. The wicked shall fall. Onward. In God's name. Forging ahead. Have at thee! Back off, knaves! On the march. Come, brothers. An opening. Attack! Strike them down! On the march. Come, brothers. Onward. You give me no choice. Forging ahead.
I shall not fall for this.
Strike them down! Follow my lead. In God's name. Advancing. In God's name. On the march. Forging ahead. In God's name. Forging ahead. Attack! Back off, knaves! In God's name. Follow my lead. You give me no choice. On the march. Follow my lead. Onward. Moving out. In God's name. Follow my lead. Come, brothers. Forging ahead. Follow my lead. In God's name. On the march. On the march. Come, brothers. In God's name. Advancing. Forging ahead. Moving out. An opening. Attack! Advancing. Moving out. On the march. Moving out. In God's name. Advancing. Come, brothers. Follow my lead. Come, brothers. Moving out. On the march. The wicked shall fall. Have at thee! Come, brothers. Advancing. You shall feel my wrath. Back off, knaves! Forging ahead. Come, brothers. The wicked shall fall. Come, brothers. Forging ahead. Advancing. On the march. Come, brothers. In God's name. In God's name. Come, brothers. Onward. Back off, knaves! Strike them down! Forging ahead. Advancing. Come, brothers. In God's name. Onward. Fight with the strength of God. Retribution awaits. Back off, knaves. You shall feel my wrath. You give me no choice. Back off, knaves! On the march. Forging ahead. On the march. Onward. Forging ahead. Advancing. In God's name. Advancing. Follow my lead. Forging ahead. Advancing. On the march. Forging ahead. Come, brothers. Follow my lead. On the march.
I shall not fall.
Onward. Moving out. Advancing. Follow my lead. In God's name. Onward. Follow my lead. Advancing. On the march. Advancing. Come, brothers. Onward. Come, brothers. You shall feel my wrath. You give me no choice. On the march. On the march. Back off, knaves! Fight with the strength of God! Strike them down! Retribution awaits! In God's name. Moving out. Onward. Moving out. Forging ahead. Moving out. In God's name. Follow my lead. Back off, knaves! Forging ahead. Strike them down! You give me no choice. Come, brothers. In God's name. Follow my lead. Forging ahead. Forging ahead. Come, brothers. Attack! Strike them down. Moving out. You shall feel my wrath. Advancing. Onward. In God's name. On the march. Forging ahead. On the march. Advancing. In God's name. Come, brothers. Moving out. Forging ahead. Come, brothers. Follow my lead. Come, brothers. Follow my lead. Moving out. In God's name. Moving out. Follow my lead. Onward. Onward. You give me no choice. You give me no choice. The wicked shall fall. Follow my lead. Advancing. Come, brothers. Follow my lead. On the march. On the march. Moving out. Moving out. Retribution awaits. On the march. In God's name. In God's name. Fight with the strength of God. An opening. Attack! Onward. Fight with the strength of God. An opening. Attack! Have at me!
The end draws near.
On the march. Forging ahead. Fight with the strength of God. Strike them down. You give me no choice. You shall feel my wrath. Back off, knaves! Fight with the strength of God. Forging ahead. Attack! In God's name.
We should concentrate.
Strike them down. On the march. Come, brothers. Fight with the strength of God. Back off, knaves! You give me no choice. Forging ahead. On the march.
Valiant brothers of the sword.
Onward! Advancing! Onward! Onward! On the march! Advancing! Come, brothers! Forging ahead! Forging ahead! Follow my lead! In God's name! An opening! Attack! Advancing! Follow my lead! Follow my lead! The wicked shall fall! Have at thee! Yeah! Strike them down! You give me no choice. In God's name. Attack! Strike them down! Back off, knaves! The wicked shall fall! Come, brothers, advancing! In God's name! The wicked shall fall! Fight with the strength of God! On the march! In God's name! Onward! You give me no choice! Back off, knaves! Onward! Have at thee! In God's name! Fight with the strength of God! Retribution awaits! Back off, knaves! You give me no choice. Moving out. You shall feel my wrath! Strike them down! Have at thee! Forging ahead! Forging ahead! Fight with the strength of God! Come, brothers. On the march. Come, brothers. Follow my lead. In God's name. You shall feel my wrath! Back off, knaves! Forging ahead. Onward. In God's name. Come, brothers. Follow my lead. Moving out. Advancing. Moving out. Advancing. Follow my lead. Come, brothers. Forging ahead. In God's name. Moving out. In God's name. Come, brothers. Onward. In God's name. Back off, knaves! An opening. Attack! Strike them down! Retribution awaits! An opening! Attack! Onward! Moving out. You shall feel my wrath! On the march. You give me no choice. Have at thee! Retribution awaits! Fight with the strength of God! Follow my lead. You shall feel my wrath! Attack! On the march. Advancing. On the march. Moving out. Have at thee! Come, brothers. Fight with the strength of God! An opening. Attack! Moving out.
The end draws near.
Forging ahead. Advancing. Moving out. Come, brothers. Forging ahead. Come, brothers. Onward. Retribution awaits.
Lord.
In God's name. Onward. Forging ahead. On the march. In God's name. On the march. Advancing. On the march. Come, brothers. Moving out. Onward. Follow my lead. Come, brothers. An opening. Attack! Moving out. Have at thee! Onward. In God's name. You give me no choice. Forging ahead. Follow my lead. Attack! Retribution awaits! On the march. Onward. Forging ahead. Onward. Onward. Attack! Have at thee! Advancing. Follow my lead. Come, brothers. You shall feel my wrath! Strike them down! Fight with the strength of God! Forging ahead! Follow my lead! On the march! Attack! Forging ahead! Advancing! Strike them down! You shall feel my wrath! An opening! Attack! Moving out. Retribution awaits! Back off, knaves! On the march. Onward! On the march. Follow my lead. Come, brothers. The wicked shall fall.
I shall not fall for this vex.
Advancing. Follow my lead. You give me no choice. Have at thee! Back off, knaves! Forging ahead. Come, brothers. On the march. Forging ahead. Come, brothers. Advancing. Forging ahead. Advancing. Onward. In God's name. Follow my lead. Come, brothers. On the march. Follow my lead. Moving out. Forging ahead. Off with you. The wicked shall fall. Onward. Retribution awaits. Moving out. In God's name. Moving out. On the march. You give me no choice. Forging ahead. On the march. An opening. Attack! Back off, knaves! Moving out. Have at thee! Strike them down! Retribution awaits! Advancing. Forging ahead. Moving out. On the march. Onward. On the march. Forging ahead. Follow my lead. Fight with the strength of God! Strike them down! In God's name. You give me no choice. Onward. On the march. Have at thee! Attack! Onward. Retribution awaits! Moving out. Come, brothers. Forging ahead. Fight with the strength of God! Back off, knaves! Come, brothers. In God's name. Forging ahead. Follow my lead. Moving out. In God's name. Strike them down! Retribution awaits! Follow my lead. Advancing. In God's name. Onward! Forging ahead! Come, brothers. On the march. Come, brothers. Forging ahead!
We should concentrate on the quest.
The wicked shall fall! In God's name. Advancing. Come, brothers. Moving out. Attack! Have at thee! Attack! Fight with the strength of God! On the march. Back off, knaves! Follow my lead. Forging ahead. Moving out. Advancing. Advancing. Forging ahead. Come, brothers. An opening. Attack! Back off, knaves! Fight with the strength of God! Advancing. Advancing. Come, brothers. You give me no choice.
We should concentrate.
Strike them down! Advancing. Onward. On the march. Advancing. Onward. Advancing. Moving out. Come, brothers. An opening. Attack! Forging ahead. Fight with the strength of God. Moving out. You shall feel my wrath. Moving out. Fight with the strength of God. Retribution awaits. Attack! An opening. Attack! In God's name. Come, brothers. Moving out. In God's name. Come, brothers. Moving out. Come, brothers. Onward. Forging ahead. Follow my lead. Onward. Advancing. Moving out. Come, brothers. Moving out. On the march. Advancing. Come, brothers. Come, brothers. Onward. On the march. Advancing. Follow my lead. Forging ahead. Moving out. In God's name. Attack! On the march. Come, brothers. Follow my lead. Have at thee! Back off, knaves! The wicked shall fall. Retribution awaits! Forging ahead. On the march. The wicked shall fall. Onward. Moving out. Forging ahead. Onward. In God's name. Advancing. Come, brothers. Come, brothers. Moving out. Forging ahead. You shall feel my wrath. Come, brothers. Onward. Advancing. Attack! Back off, knaves! An opening. Attack! Retribution awaits. Onward. On the march. Onward. Advancing. Moving out. Come, brothers. Forging ahead. Come, brothers. Moving out. Onward. On the march. An opening. Attack! Come, brothers. Attack! Have at thee! Advancing. In God's name. In God's name. Follow my lead. In God's name. You give me no choice. An opening. Attack! Come, brothers. In God's name. You shall feel my wrath. On the march. Have at thee! Back off, knaves! In God's name. Advancing. Follow my lead. On the march. On the march. Come, brothers. Fight with the strength of God. You shall feel my wrath. Back off, knaves! On the march. On the march. Follow my lead. Onward. Come, brothers. Advancing. Follow my lead. Moving out. Onward. Advancing. An opening. Attack! Retribution awaits. On the march. Come, brothers. On the march. In God's name. Follow my lead. Advancing. In God's name. Moving out. Have at thee! On the march. Moving out. In God's name. Fight with the strength of God. Advancing. Forging ahead. The wicked shall fall. Follow my lead. Follow my lead. Forging ahead. Moving out. Onward. Onward. Forging ahead. The wicked shall fall. An opening. Attack! Advancing. Follow my lead.
The end draws near.
Onward. Moving out. In God's name. Onward. Follow my lead. Strike them down. Onward. On the march. Forging ahead.
Agnes.
Moving out. Onward. Advancing. Onward. Follow my lead. Onward. In God's name. Back off, knaves! Come, brothers. In God's name. Forging ahead. Come, brothers. Forging ahead. On the march. On the march. Forging ahead. Onward. Forging ahead. Forging ahead. On the march. You give me no choice. Retribution awaits. Back off, knaves. Have at thee. Advancing.